Travis Hunter was treated poorly by Alimony, but he really loved her because she was older and she was out of school and he was in high school, but she stayed the entire time. But then, as people started bringing up receipts, we started to see some level of flaw in the behavior of Alimony's past.
You walk into the courtroom and the air feels different, thicker, charged. All eyes are locked on Travis Hunter as he sits stiff in his chair, jaw clenched so tight you can almost hear the grind. Across the aisle, his ex-wife's legal team lays out a demand that sent shockwaves far beyond these four walls. $14 million in alimony. Not a negotiation, not a starting offer, an outright demand. And the number alone has become the headline of the day. Court documents reveal the figure isn't just about ongoing support. Her attorneys have tied it to what they're calling lifestyle preservation, a claim that she should be entitled to maintain the exact standard of living she enjoyed during the marriage. That means luxury cars, high-end real estate, private travel, and even annual personal retreats. Expenses her side insists are reasonable and necessary. But what's fueling the fire isn't just the amount, it's the timing. This demand surfaces just weeks after rumors swirled about the breakdown of their marriage, with whispers of infidelity and emotional manipulation fueling speculation online. For Hunter's supporters, the $14 million feels less like a fair settlement and more like a targeted blow meant to capitalize on his public image and financial success. Inside the courtroom, Travis leans forward, eyes locked on the judge, but his shoulders tense when his ex-wife's attorney repeats the phrase, uncompromising terms. His lawyer counters sharply, calling the demand financially abusive and wholly disconnected from reality. The exchange is tense, punctuated by the sound of the judge's gavel as murmurs ripple through the gallery. And now, the public is split. Is this the fair cost of walking away from a high-profile marriage? Or is it a calculated move to drain him financially? Would you stand your ground in court, or pay to make it all disappear? The next phase of the hearing pulls back the curtain on just how deep this fight might go. Hunter's legal team projects a breakdown of the $14 million demand onto a courtroom screen, line by line. The numbers are staggering. $250,000 annually for personal image maintenance, $400,000 a year for travel, $1.2 million for property upkeep across multiple residences, and a one-time $5 million lump sum listed simply as transition adjustment. The phrase sparks immediate backlash. Even the judge raises an eyebrow, asking the attorney to clarify. The explanation? That the transition adjustment is intended to ensure emotional stability and continuity of lifestyle after the split. To some in the gallery, it's corporate speak for a massive cash grab. But then, Hunter's ex-wife takes the stand. Calm, measured, she explains her reasoning. That she supported his career from the shadows, that she gave up her own opportunities to stand by him, and that their wealth was built together. She insists the figure isn't vindictive. It's compensation for years of personal sacrifice. You don't just walk away from over a decade of building a life without ensuring you can live the one you helped create, she says, her voice steady. Hunter doesn't look at her as she speaks. He keeps his eyes fixed on the table, tapping his finger in a slow, steady rhythm, the only tell of the storm beneath his composed exterior. Meanwhile, whispers move through the spectators, some nodding in agreement with her point, others shaking their heads at the sheer size of the demand. And now the question hanging over the courtroom is unavoidable. Is this about fairness, or is it about leverage? If you were in his position, would you see it as justice, or as a public shakedown? The tension only grows when Hunter's financial advisor is called to the stand. He doesn't mince words. In a calm, almost clinical tone, he outlines how paying $14 million in the proposed structure would drain nearly 30% of Hunter's liquid assets within 5 years. It's not just the size of the payment, he explains. It's the compounding effect of ongoing obligations, taxes, and the loss of investment income. The jury watches as he clicks to the next slide, a projection showing Hunter's net worth shrinking year over year under the proposed alimony terms. The numbers hit like a gut punch, even for those who came in skeptical of Hunter's outrage. This is not sustainable, the advisor states flatly, his voice echoing in the quiet room. Then, the defense introduces another layer, a set of text messages allegedly sent by Hunter's ex-wife to a close friend just weeks before filing for divorce. In them, she allegedly hints at making this the biggest payday I can, and getting what I deserve after years of keeping quiet. The authenticity of the messages hasn't been fully verified, but their existence alone sends ripples through the crowd. Hunter's expression shifts for the first time all morning. His jaw tightens, his shoulders square, and for a moment, he leans forward like he's ready to speak. But his attorney places a hand on his arm, a silent reminder to hold back. The room feels like it's waiting for an explosion that doesn't come. By the time court recesses for lunch, the battle lines are sharper than ever. Supporters of his ex-wife say she's fighting for what's rightfully hers, while Hunter's camp calls it an orchestrated financial ambush. And as the cameras swarm outside, one question is repeated again and again. When love ends and millions are at stake, is there ever really a fair number? When court resumes, the prosecution pivots to lifestyle evidence: lavish vacations, high-end shopping trips, and luxury vehicles purchased during the marriage. Photos flash across the projector: private villas in the Maldives, champagne-drenched yacht parties, designer bags lining a custom-built closet. The implication is clear. This wasn't a modest lifestyle. It was a high-rolling standard that her legal team argues she's entitled to maintain. Her attorney drives the point home with a pointed statement. This isn't about greed. This is about preserving the life she helped build. Mr. Hunter's career afforded these luxuries, but the sacrifices in the background were hers. They paint a picture of a woman who supported his demanding schedule, managed the home, and endured the public scrutiny that comes with being tied to an NFL star. But Hunter's defense counters with a different narrative, one of financial discipline and long-term planning that his ex allegedly undermined. They reveal bank statements showing large, unapproved withdrawals from joint accounts in the weeks before the divorce filing, totaling nearly $250,000. This is not the behavior of someone seeking stability, his lawyer argues. This is someone preparing for a cash grab. In the gallery, the mood is split. Some nod in agreement with the defense's logic. Others shake their heads, convinced this is just another tactic to discredit her. Even the judge appears more attentive now, leaning slightly forward as both sides volley back and forth over whether this is justified support or calculated excess. Outside, social media feeds light up with clips from the morning session. One post reads, "14 million for alimony? That's generational wealth, not support." Another fires back, "If she lived that life with him, why should she downgrade now?" And as the debate rages on, it's clear this isn't just about one NFL player's finances. It's about the high-stakes collision of love, money, and public opinion. The tension spikes when a forensic accountant, hired by Hunter's legal team, takes the stand. He projects a detailed financial breakdown that tracks every major expenditure over the past 5 years, personal, joint, and business-related. The chart shows that while Hunter's NFL salary is substantial, his post-career income projections are far lower, especially when factoring in taxes, agent fees, and ongoing investments. A $14 million payout now, the expert warns, could significantly impact his long-term financial stability. Hunter's side leans heavily on this data, arguing that the requested alimony isn't just steep, it's unsustainable. They point to ongoing obligations like charitable commitments, property taxes, and the management of multiple business ventures. The narrative is one of careful financial stewardship being threatened by a demand that far exceeds reasonable support. But her team doesn't back down. They counter with emails and text messages in which Hunter allegedly promised to always take care of her, no matter what happened. One message, sent during an off-season trip, reads, "You'll never have to worry about money, ever." To them, those words are not just sentimental, they're binding, and they argue the $14 million figure reflects that promise. In the back rows of the courtroom, reporters type furiously. Every exchange feels like another headline waiting to be written. Fans online dissect the accountant's projections, with some defending Hunter's right to protect his earnings, and others accusing him of trying to dodge responsibility after years of luxury living. And now, the question looms larger than ever. Is this fight about what's fair, or about who can land the more convincing blow in the court of public opinion? Because as each side doubles down, it's becoming clear that neither is willing to walk away without making this battle as public and as personal as possible. You watch as the mood in the courtroom shifts from tense to volatile. Hunter's attorney rises, voice steady but edged with steel, and introduces a set of private financial documents obtained through discovery. These include detailed transaction logs from the months leading up to the separation, records showing multiple luxury purchases made by his ex-wife, including jewelry, overseas trips, and high-end designer items, all charged to joint accounts. The implication is sharp. She was already spending at an accelerated rate before filing for divorce, potentially inflating her lifestyle ahead of the alimony negotiations. Her legal team fires back instantly, claiming these purchases were part of the life Hunter willingly provided during the marriage. They argue that the law doesn't just look at current needs, but at maintaining the marital standard of living. To them, the trips and luxury items aren't extravagances. They're proof of the financial world she's been accustomed to. and $14 million is the figure that keeps that intact. The judge listens without revealing much, occasionally jotting notes while both sides volley evidence like punches in a championship bout. Meanwhile, the gallery reacts in subtle waves, audible gasps when a particularly high price tag flashes on screen, quiet murmurs when a new legal precedent is mentioned. Outside the courthouse, the media circus grows. Paparazzi swarm both parties, shouting questions about greed, betrayal, and whether this battle is about justice or revenge. On social media, clips of the day's proceedings trend under hashtags like Hunter divorce and Humbert 14 million fight, sparking debates between those who see the sum as outrageous and those who think it's only fair compensation. And as the gavel strikes to end the day, one thought lingers. Is this case still about the marriage that ended? Or has it transformed into a high-stakes contest of pride, power, and public image where the truth might matter less than who walks away looking like the victor? You return the next morning to a courtroom that feels like a pressure cooker about to burst. Cameras crowd the hallway, and whispers of a possible settlement ripple through the media, but once the session begins, it's clear neither side is ready to back down. Hunter sits stiff, jaw clenched, his gaze fixed on the table in front of him. Across the aisle, his ex-wife avoids eye contact, instead whispering with her attorney as the clerk brings forward a final piece of evidence, an email chain between the two from months before the split. In one message, she references what's owed and not walking away with nothing, language the defense seizes on as proof this fight has been in motion long before the marriage officially crumbled. The courtroom grows tense as Hunter's lawyer argues that $14 million isn't about financial survival. It's a punitive number meant to cripple him professionally and personally. They point out that the demand comes at a time when endorsement deals hang in the balance, and NFL management is closely monitoring the public fallout. Then, in a dramatic turn, the judge addresses both parties directly, warning that the next stage will involve full disclosure of all personal finances, every account, every asset, every transaction, if no agreement is reached. The words hang heavy in the air. For Hunter, it's a dare to prove his net worth isn't as limitless as the opposing side claims. For her, it's a reminder that the deeper they dig, the more of her own financial past could be exposed. By the time the gavel falls, the room feels split down the middle, half convinced she's overreaching, half convinced he's hiding resources. Outside, reporters swarm them with questions, but neither offers a word. And as they walk in opposite directions into a wall of flashing lights, one thing becomes clear. This battle isn't ending anytime soon, and the $14 million figure is no longer just a number, it's a line in the sand.